All seems well in the city when the dry season comes. The most beautiful buildings of Cameroon stand tall by the huge paved roads in the city of Douala. Douala, being the economic capital of Cameroon, harbors the biggest economic activities in the Central African sub-region. Most of the population of close to 3 million people have settled on reclaimed land from the river Vuri, which extends to the Atlantic Ocean beside the city. It is in the dry season that most construction work has been done in the city. Some of this area that these houses are built on used to be water. The land is bought expensively because of the high demand for land in the city. Much has to be done, and properly done, before a foundation of a house is put in such an area.
Before I want to build this house where this is, this place will look marshy, maybe in a like swimming pool. The place will just be in a swamp. Contact, I think CFP here. I acquired the plot. I think CFP here. I see the urban council. Urban council, they give me permit for build. For the one give me permit, I first see La Bogeli. It take me about 250 camions, this 20-ton ground for throw per year. After I throw I take compactor. It can climb on top, the place strong before I start the foundation.
Despite all this feeling, there is a lot more to be considered before putting up a house at this reclaimed area.
My own effort, I don't be able to catch the level before I want to get this level when I see too, but this ground when I see too. It takes me some time to actually study the renaissance, how water they react, how floods they react there before I catch this level, put this pavement where you see, so then build this water.
An inspection team is also expected from the local council office to inspect the area before the building commences. Something that is hardly done by the people constructing these houses.
Pour ce qui est de la procédure d'obtention de permis, la loi dit qu'il faut un titre foncier pour obtenir un permis. Et comme on s'est rendu compte que beaucoup de terrains dans la ville ne font pas l'objet.
Concerning the procedure of obtaining a house permit, the law stipulates that a land title is needed, and as we have noticed that many plots in town don't have land titles, we have put in place a procedure to give special authorizations. Generally, for this authorization, we require papers concerning the land like a sales certificate and other related documents. When you prepare and bring these documents, we ask you to obtain a certificate of ownership, a plan of the site, and a certificate of urbanization. From here, we make a demand which is intended to notify the community, and this demand will be legalized in other services in the domain. And all these are parts of the administrative document. Concerning the technical document which you will have to provide, it should contain the plan of the house, which includes the size, height, the shape of the roof, and a total estimate of the quality and quantity of all what is required. When this is done, we now present your document and you will be given a bill to pay in order to obtain a permit. This is what we call rights of a permit, and they represent 1% of the value of the house. But we generally understand that when Cameroonians are building, for example, a house which costs 1 million francs, they will present us a plan of 300,000 francs. So we have devised a procedure of estimating the cost of the house by calculating the square meters and multiplying them by 150 to 200,000 francs. This is to readjust should in case the true value of the house is not given.
Ils disent que dans le devis descrit, vous présente un devis descriptif peut-être de 300 000. Donc je pense que dans la maison, il y a un barème qu'on a mis en place qui se entre la fourchette de 150 à 200 000 francs.
And when you go on building without a permit, and when we happen to come across you while patrolling, we seize all equipment on the building site, and you will have to pay us a penalty of 30% of the original building plan. That is to say, if you have to pay us £1 million for a permit, you will have to pay a penalty of 300,000 francs. Also, before obtaining all the building equipment that we have seized, it will cost you 1,000 francs for each on a daily basis. For example, if 10 spades, it will be 10,000 francs, and if we have kept them for 5 days, it will be 10,000 francs times 5 days.
Vous devez nous payer d'abord les pénalités de 300 000 francs, par exemple. Ensuite, les matériaux qui sont gardés à raison de 1 000 francs par objet par jour. Si on vous a pris par exemple 10 pelles, quand vous venez les récupérer, vous devez nous payer 10 000 francs. Si ça a mis 5 jours, ça fait 10 000 francs fois 5 ans.
The procedure is not only followed by people building personal houses, but contractors who have won public contracts to build public roads. These areas get flooded with water in the rainy season. Movement into and from such areas is very difficult.
Au début, il n'y avait pas la route ici, on entrait dans l'eau avant d'arriver à la maison. Et aussi les animaux qui sortent de temps en temps, le varan, les singes, les serpents de temps en temps qu'on rencontre.
Just as individuals try to rehabilitate their local surrounding, it is the duty of the state, through its local councils, to construct roads and bridges that lead to such areas.
We are standing is somewhere directly opposite the popular building in Bonaberry called Caritage. That area is extremely marshy during the rainy season. But the urban council of Douala, especially the Douala 4 council, has embarked this season to work on some bridges in order to push away the water and resettle the land. Right behind me, you would see lots of workers and making sure that they catch up before the rainy season finally falls. And we have this opportunity to talk with the chief engineer of this project right here with me. He's going to be answering us some few questions. Hello, sir. Yes, you're on this project. Do you think after all this, we shall not have water penetrating this neighborhood anymore?
Oui, il est bien vrai. Au départ, on a commencé par des études sur le débit d'eau de cette zone que vous voyez en saison de pluie. Et à la fin des études, on a constaté que dans le cas où on construisait un galop un peu plus haut, donc celui-ci est de 2 mètres de haut et puis de 3 mètres de large. Donc cela permettra un écoulement plus aisé des eaux du lac. Donc nous n'aurons plus d'inondation dans la zone.
So are you telling the people of this neighborhood that after you finish work here, everything will be perfect? What you have done is good.
Oui, nous sommes très sûrs que nos études ont évolué normalement et nous rassurons aux populations riveraines de la zone qu'à la fin de notre ouvrage, nous n'aurons plus de problème d'inondation pendant la saison de pluie.
The truth is that this bridge behind here used to exist, but it used to be one line movement and it was constructed with wood, leading to a neighborhood where so many thousands of people live. In the rainy season, this area is worse. People can't move on foot. They get off their shoes before they get into the neighborhood. But now that we see this going, we now know there could be some more bright aspect of the reclamation of this area.
Join me with the chief technician. Let's find out exactly what is happening there where the work is going on.
As years pass by, the reclaimed areas get less flooded when the rain comes, depending on the amount of work that is done in the dry season. That is, preparations to face the floods of the rainy season. Life seems normal in these reclaimed areas in the dry season. Newcomers to town without much knowledge of what will become of the situation in the rainy season turn to go rent accommodation in such areas. Some people who know the consequences and have lived in refill these areas and build new waterways. When the rains finally come, the situation starts changing. The roads become paths and water floods everywhere. The water table of the sea beside and the river Vuri rises dramatically. Some of the buildings that were built on the soil well compacted starts falling off. Some communities are forced to put huge truck tires that they jump from angle to angle to run away off the water table. When the rainy season gets deeper, those who have followed the proper procedures of building their houses don't face much problems. The further inland, the situation is worse. It's even terrible for those not too far away from the river Vuri. The water table rises some days to cover their whole environment. The peak of the water table is usually in the evenings by 6:30 p.m., but starts reducing after that time. That man is going back home. This lady too is just back from work. She carries her shoes daily in her handbag and only wears them when she is out of these floods. The area where they build their houses is a bit elevated, and so water seldomly gets into them. They also fill soil around the compound and build fences to limit the movement of the children. They are in the habit of keeping water animals and birds as their domestic pets. The house over there has been completely abandoned. The floods of this year have driven the family that used to be living there. A lot of people living in the cities of Cameroon don't bother about flooding when they construct their houses. Some totally jump procedure and build without inviting an inspection team from their local council areas or experts to check their land before they construct.
Je n'ai pas les statistiques en tête, mais je sais que je puis affirmer que dans la ville de Douala, s'il y a 100 maisons,
I don't have the statistics in my head, but I can affirm that in the town of Douala, not up to 10 out of 100 houses have permits. You could confirm this in Bonanjo at the Urban Construction Office. When I look at the average, only 20 people pay monthly, and so the yearly average will be 200 permits. If you notice, there are not only 200 constructions in Douala, there are thousands. And if you do the math, you would realize that what is going on is very incorrect.
Faites un peu le pourcentage, vous voyez que c'est très infime ce qui... Bon, c'est pour cela que nous avons mis en place des équipes qui vont sur le terrain forcer la main aux citoyens pour venir payer le permis
It is for this reason that we have put in place a team that goes out there and force citizens to come and pay their permit, and we will explain to them the purpose of a permit. So when these people come here, we make them to know that the permit is also very advantageous to them. Because if tomorrow the area where you build your house on is declared a government land and your house will be destroyed, the law states that you have to be given an indemnity, which is a declaration in the permit of the beneficiary. You present the cost of the house and you are refunded. If you don't accept their request, it will be left for the court. And in court, you will be asked the permit, because on the permit is the value of the house. So if you say your house is worth 20 million francs, you have got to prove it, and it is the same case in front of the insurance. If you have insured your house and there is a disaster, you have to prove your insurer the worth of your house. When we tell people, they are happy and turn to get permits. The permit is like the birth certificate, the identity card of the house.
Si votre voisin est assuré pour risque pour communication d'incendie, quand vous arrivez devant son assureur qui veut vous indemniser, il faut prouver que votre maison avait une valeur de... Quand on dit ça souvent aux citoyens, aux usagers ici, ils sont très contents, et ceux-là, ils se disent qu'ils comprennent qu'ils ont intérêt à avoir le permis. Pour parler terre à terre, moi je dis souvent aux usagers que le permis est l'acte de naissance et la carte d'identité de la maison.
They also hardly put in place a drainage pattern. Some areas that don't have high water levels, like that of those people living close to the Vuru River, tend to be flooded in the rainy season also after heavy rains. In situations where the drainage system is either absent or poor. This is an extraordinary day in one of such areas in Cameroon. 27th of August 2011. It is the heart of the rainy season. For close to 15 hours, it's been rainy in this community, somewhere in the suburbs of the city of Douala. These people are not ready for the floods of this season. They had not prepared their waterways. It's a very long day here. It all started like a joke, but the water table has been increasing dramatically. Everybody is on alert. There is also some luck here, as the peak of this disaster is in the daylight. Some of the inhabitants are out of their homes. The floods have taken this area by storm, and all is not all right. Some houses are halfway covered, and the velocity of the running water is too high and dangerous, and could carry even humans. This plantation has totally been covered by the floods. Nobody seems to be in that compound at the peak of the storm. Most of the kitchen utensils and furniture of that home is floating on the waters. It will be difficult for the inhabitants of that house to get there today. The streets of the neighborhood are completely covered by the floods. It's totally impossible for any sort of movement. The speedy waters of the floods have broken through homes and taking away some domestic animals. That is a pig struggling for survival. And the worst scenario for these floods is that woman stuck in the high buoyancy of these waters. A rescue team is already put in place to try to get survivors out of such situations. Most of the inhabitants of this neighborhood never followed the right procedure of building their home.
Le plan de masse et le certificat d'urbanisme. Le certificat d'urbanisme, c'est lui qui nous dit, dans le certificat d'urbanisme, on nous dit cette zone, voilà ce qui peut être construit dans cette telle zone.
It is the mass plan and urban certificate that says what is to be constructed at a particular zone. If you don't have one, you are constructing at your own risk.
C'est une zone commerciale, c'est une zone, comment on appelle ça, réservée, destinée pour l'habitation.
It is from those documents that you see if the zone is risky, if it is a commercial zone, a reserved area, zone for a residential area, office space area, and so on. It is here too that you know the height of the house, take account of the placement of the house and how the house will be situated with other houses around. If you don't do all this, generally you wouldn't know what to do. That is how we meet people who construct as they like.
Donc, si vous ne faites pas tous ces papiers-là, généralement, vous ne pouvez même pas savoir ce que vous devez faire. C'est pour ça que, généralement, on trouve des gens qui construisent comme ils l'entendent. Lorsqu'une maison me présente des risques, la municipalité a le devoir, moi j'allais dire, c'est même pas le droit, a le devoir de la faire casser. Parce que la municipalité, la collectivité est là.
When a house proves to be in risk, the council has the assignment to demolish it. The council is there to ensure the security of the citizens. The law says when a house is at risk, built without a permit, the government delegate or the mayor can decide to demolish it than wait for a disaster on the population.
They also didn't prepare good waterways for the rainy season. And most importantly, they had blocked their gutters of the running waters in the dry season with waste from their home. Moreover, this particular situation is a disaster. The dry season will soon come and life will get normal again. Waiting for the day someone will die from such a situation before they will take proper precautions.